Welcome to Zoom In, Zoom Out, Structures and Strategies of the Learner-Active, Technology-Infused Classroom. In this kiosk, we will zoom in to take a closer look at the goals and strategic implementation of specific classroom elements. We will also zoom out to see how these elements interact to foster a student-centered learning environment. Instruction is complex. As teachers, we start with the core content. How we present the core content is determined by our teaching style and core beliefs. How our teaching style and the content are received has as much to do with each individual student's learning style and readiness level for the content. And how well the students perform within their ability is impacted by how much attention they are paying throughout the span of the lesson. The core content will determine what is assessed. Then in turn, the assessment results will probably affect what is taught next. And of course, how much students paid attention will affect their results on the assessment, and so on in a never-ending web of interactions. We call this web a system. Each component within the system connects to every other component. Understanding the classroom system enables you to best manage it for optimal learning. The Learner-Active Technology-Infused Classroom takes a system-based approach to transforming the classroom environment. The components of the system work together to create a setting where students actively approach skills and concepts, take responsibility, make choices, and self-assess, using a variety of resources to support their individual learning process. This is a shift from a focus on the teacher teaching the content to the student learning the content. Traditionally, the teacher has been responsible for presenting the curriculum. However, today we strive to ensure that all students have internalized core skills and concepts. That is the true assessment of the instructional process. Toward this end, we see a greater focus on attending to individual needs and responding to formative assessments. You've probably heard the term sage on the stage, used to describe the traditional model of teaching. The teacher talks, and the students listen and take notes to get the information that the teacher possesses. Many of us as students were very successful in this model. The trouble is, when instruction is given in a whole group setting, it is difficult to support active engagement with content across the individual learning styles and needs present in each student. The term guide on the side is used to commonly express a shift in the teacher's role to facilitator of learning. When students take ownership of learning, they will need guidance to stay on track, move forward, and keep to an optimal pace. They will encounter obstacles and have need of alternative resources to meet individual needs. In planning rich resources and learning experiences, then actively facilitating the learning process, the teacher is able to guide students toward mastery of the learning goals. Physical structures play a significant role in guiding students to work more independently. Structures like folders, activity lists, and schedules are powerful tools for ongoing assessment and communication with students. Activity lists and schedules organize assignments and goals and create a path for student choice. Independent access to resources enables students to take initiative in meeting their learning needs. A resource table can house how-to sheets, leveled assignments, writing materials, and other as-needed resources. Rather than passively sitting at their desks and waiting for their assignments to come to them, requiring students to gather the materials they need gets them taking an active role. Providing a higher-order, open-ended problem to solve engages students in learning content in an authentic context. It allows the freedom to differentiate for ability levels through varied resources, pacing, and products, while still challenging all students to think at high levels. The rubric provides students with clear expectations, enabling them to self-assess their progress and set individual goals for moving forward. Let's zoom out for a moment and take a look at how these classroom components interact. The PBL task is presented at the beginning of a unit of instruction. To grasp exactly what they are required to do in completing the task, students will need a rubric. In order to gain the skills to complete the task and rubric, They need a list of activities to complete. And then they need access to the materials for those activities. To manage and organize their time, students will need a schedule. And as they encounter issues along the way, they need to be able to get help. They'll also need to stay organized, which will help them make use of the teacher's support and to keep track of their PBL work and stay focused on the rubric as they work from their activity list. The PBL is the center of instruction, supported by each of these pieces, and in turn it provides the context for students to take ownership of the learning process. The activity list determines what students place on their schedules and what ends up in their folders. Interactive boards support progress toward the rubric expectations and independent learning through the materials on the resource table, and so on and so on. Are you beginning to get the idea? Learning centers can take many forms. They can be group, paired, or individual activities. They take place at a set location in the room, or they can be portable and taken back to students' desks. They can be kept in folders, plastic bags, or envelopes, presented on trifold boards or bulletin boards. The key is that learning centers provide students with opportunities to construct knowledge by grappling with core concepts and skills. Let's zoom out again for a moment. Any of these structures can be adapted to your space and instructional needs. As you introduce a structure to your students, you will start out by assessing their current level of ability to make good choices and take responsibility. Adapt the structure to challenge them at the highest level that they can successfully navigate. For example, a center may contain one activity or several to choose from. An activity list can span a day or a week. Students can schedule a small block of time, an entire day, or even longer. Success lies in taking small, continual steps forward, designing quality activities, providing clear feedback and support, and maintaining the same high level of accountability that you have always held. Working in groups can leverage student knowledge as peers use their strengths to help one another. Doing so frees up the teacher from constant demands for lower-level support. These collaborative skills take time to develop, but will become powerful supports to learning and will be invaluable in the 21st century workplace. Home groups provide a structure for building these skills. Group tasks may apply to the home group or to other flexible groupings based on the content. Strategic use of benchmark lessons to convey concepts and synthesize thinking is an important component of the learner-active technology-infused classroom. The key is to create a balance of teacher talk time and student talk time. When we are teaching to the whole class, we need to ensure that the content is relevant to everyone and to keep the lesson to an optimal length of 15 to 20 minutes. Mini-lessons allow you to give additional support to those students who need it, while freeing those who are able to keep moving ahead. Ultimately, you want to create a culture where students are empowered and able to self-assess their needs and determine topics and attendance. On the way to that, you can pull topics from questions they ask and, if necessary, invite students to attend. As digital natives, most students have a high level of comfort and proficiency with technology, which will enable them to rise beyond normal expectations. Outside of the classroom, students are used to utilizing technology to naturally meet their individualized needs. In the classroom, they can quickly fall into that active mode using the same tools. Interactive websites abound for most major subject matter, including simulations, design tools, web quests, and more. Web 2.0 refers to the collaborative, contributory nature of the Internet. Blogs, wikis, and student-created websites allow for this active mindset to be translated into a contributory approach to core content. Audio and video resources, which can be independently accessed by students, provide support for a variety of learning styles and paces. They are simple to create and can become what we call teacher cloning tools, allowing you to be present in various places in the room at once to give direction and support. Students can also create recordings to show mastery of content, generating a digital record of learning that can be assessed and shared with parents or administrators. So let's add these components to our system web. As before, each of these elements contributes to and supports each other element of the system. Student schedules will help you to manage limited access to tech tools in your classroom. The activity list will provide differentiated extensions to the whole class learning in benchmark lessons. Mini lessons will flexibly support individual student learning and challenges. Learning centers will guide students to grapple with the core concepts and skills that students are gaining as they work toward their PBL task. Much of this will happen naturally and invisibly as you begin to implement your unit. As you encounter challenges, you'll find that the answers lie somewhere in this web of structures, and I'll be here to guide you to those answers. The Learner Active Technology-Infused Classroom is a system that deepens over time. As your students are involved in making choices, in working towards something real, in utilizing technology, and in collaborating with peers, they will be engaged and motivated at higher levels. This, in turn, leads to higher retention of the skills they gain throughout the process. As motivation and content mastery grow, students become increasingly adept at taking ownership of their own learning process. And as we continue to reflect on and revise your implementation of these core classroom structures, you'll become more and more adept at running a truly student-centered classroom.